They talked about the soul being made visible. The authentic self was the soul being made visible. And I was thinking in terms of tourism destinations, how some destinations sort of lose themselves through seeing the world through tourist eyes. And do you think that's helpful to us to think of revealing of the soul of places or people or cultures?
I think that is a great definition of the authentic person. I think both you and I would aspire to be like that. The thing which I find more useful as a way of thinking about it, although it's not as subtle as your way, is the old adage about beauty being in the eye of the beholder. Mm-hmm. And I think authenticity, sadly, for most of us, is when the place is like we thought it should be. And we get quite disappointed if it's not. Now, I think that's enlightening because it tells us how powerful the marketeers are in terms of shaping our expectation of a place, which I find quite frightening, actually.
Yeah, unless you're a marketeer.
Unless you're a marketeer, which is where their power lies.
Yeah. Does that help us understand why some people find Dubai a very authentic experience?
I think it does.
Because you could look at Dubai and say there's very little there which is true to the history of Dubai. And you might lead you to think it's not authentic. But using the way you suggested we think about it, many people, Dubai becomes a very authentic experience for them.
Yes, but they're being robbed. What they're being robbed of, I worked in Saudi for a while, and I was lucky enough to be there when the date harvest came in. Mm-hmm. And suddenly everybody has been back to their farm at the weekend, and they've come in with dates, and there's a big argument going on, good-natured argument, about who's got the best dates this year and why some varieties are better than others, and people are tasting each other's dates. Now, the date culture is a very big part of most of Arabia. Very few tourists ever experience that. I've done a stopover tour when I was coming back from a conference with ATO, actually, Association of Independent Tour Operators, and we were shown around Dubai, and we went to what was supposedly the date market, and it was one guy with his stall. Now, that was clearly, from my perspective, not authentic. I think for many of the people in the group with me, it was adequately authentic because that was the depth of their expectation. However, what companies like responsibletravel.com do, I think, is open people's eyes to what else is possible. That sense of there are these remarkable things in places which you could go and see, suggesting to people what they should see, and also maybe alerting them to the fact that some of the things that may be on offer are actually not all that authentic, not all that meaningful, not all that enjoyable.
So maybe both ways of thinking about authenticity are true.
Yes.
Because when we think about Dubai and the people who are being robbed or missing out, is because Dubai is not making its history and its heritage and its soul visible. But at the same way, many of the people who go to Dubai find it a perfectly authentic experience because they perceive it through their own eyes and the way it's
I think we also have to be careful, Justin, which is, and it's this. I've met a lot of social anthropologists over the years, and they very often have a sense that the authentic is the way it used to be at a previous point in time. And we need to be very careful to remember that it is the total right of Dubai to develop as it wishes to develop.
I think that's right, but I also think there's a kind of rootlessness in destinations that deny all of their past or fabricate an entire future.